Hello there, it's Cousin Leonidas here. Okay, and I'm recording this currently for the second time because apparently I didn't turn the sound on before. So, you had this kind of fixed picture and you didn't have any sound. Alright, but that is, of course, not what you're going to get. So, what we'll talk about today is we'll talk about Paul's letter to the Colossians, and of course we're not going to translate the whole thing because that would take too long. Okay, so let's talk about that. So we have done mainly work from the Gospels or translation from the Gospels. We haven't done too much on top of that. Okay, but today we look at Paul, and as we continue to look through some of that, we'll find a few challenges. What we have today is not too bad. Okay, so what we've got, first of all, let's identify a couple of things. Okay, we can see lots of colors here. Okay, the reason I've color-coded things, this is what I've done already, is that these represent cases. So if we have dark blue, okay, which we got, that is going to be the subject, so or nominative. Let's use the word we used before. So that is the person, thing, or God that is doing the action of the sentence or is being the action of the sentence. Okay, great, let's go on. So we've got the red is going to be the accusative, it's going to be the object. And there are a couple of reasons why things can be an object. They could be a direct object of a verb, or they could come after a preposition, like here. Okay, that's good. Okay, and then we've got green is going to be, and we won't cover one today. Let's have a look. Green is going to be the genitive. Now, genitive can cover a couple of different reasons. Let's mention, okay, some of those now, a couple, 3 or 4. Okay, so we've got, it could be the possessor, okay, something, or it could come after a preposition. So we've got the case of dia there. Okay, great. So let's go into that. Now, I had actually meant to put up a map, okay, to talk about where things are. Okay, this is happening somewhere in around about what we call Asia Minor, okay, or in what the Greeks will call Anatolia. So nowadays it is Western Turkey, and there are package tours you can take which will take you to the place, the 7 churches that were in Paul's letters or were mentioned in Revelation. So something like that. So let's have a look at that. So we've first of all got what the letter is. So this is what you'll find at the top of the Bible in any translation. Okay, you will see the name of who the letter is to or who wrote the letter. So we've got that. And we've got pros Colossians. Okay, and you'll just have to trust me on this. This is going to be accusative. Okay, but it is not going to be the second declension that we have seen. We'll actually see below with Paulus Apostolos and Christou Jesu. Okay, this is going to be third declension. So the people of the city of Colossae. Okay, so let's go on with that. So I'll read out, and just first of all, a forewarning about my accent. Okay, some of the feedback I've got, which has been very polite, I'll say that. Okay, from people who are listening from an Orthodox background, don't vastly like my pronunciation, which is fine. Okay, and just as an explanation, I'm giving you the pronunciation which was used possibly about, this is reconstructed pronunciation, which was used 4 or 5 centuries before. Okay, so that's why it would sound a bit different. Okay, so let's go on. If you like the pronunciation, fine. If you don't, then that's okay. We can still see what's going on. So we've got Paulos Apostolos Christou Jesu de telematos Theou kai Timotheos ho adelphos. Okay, so you might notice, for example, that when I get to a theta, Okay, we would usually pronounce that as a th, as a th. Okay, I'm pronouncing as a kind of aspirated t. Okay, so telematos, teu. Okay, let's go. So we don't have too far to go here. So we first of all got Paulos, Apostolos. Okay, so these are two names which are used in Greek nowadays. So Paulos is obviously Paul. You can see that. We got Apostolos. I used to know someone who had the last name Apostolou. Okay, which may or may not be related to an old form of the genitive. Okay, we can look at that later. But I think Apostolos is even a first name. Okay, so we got Paul, an apostle. Now, that form apostle, let's just have a look at that. We've got the apo at the beginning. Okay, now we've got often words are formed, more complicated words are formed with a preposition as part of the word. Okay, so we might have, and I'm using Latin here, we might have the word for a letter as epistola. Okay, we might have that. So we're still using two Greek words. So we've got apo, apostolos, epistola. So we've got apo is from, away from, someone who has been sent away from, so a missionary. And epistola is something which is sent towards. Okay, such as a letter is. Okay, so Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. So we have the genitive is often used of possession. We're going to have that as a green. We're going to have another green here, but it's not going to be possession. Let's talk about that in a moment. So we've got Christu is basically a translation of the, let's say, Aramaic, but maybe Hebrew, Messiah, so the anointed one. Okay, and we have the dia is because of, or literally through, something like that. Through as in because of. So dia, and we got telematos. Okay, this is not the same kind of ending as we had with Paulos. Okay, this is third declension. So in declensions, why don't we say that they're families of nouns? Okay, there is one. Okay, so things like krene, a fountain or something like that, or heote, a festival. Okay, we got two, so we've got things like apostolos, okay, or depnon or dendron or something like that. And now we've got another form, telematos, and that's going to be genitive. So because of the will, teu, of God. Now we've seen that word before. Okay, we've seen it in words like theistic or monotheist or something like that. So we've seen that before. So because of the will of God. Now, interestingly enough, in kind of classical times, theos is the word for a god and a goddess, and it differs because of definite article. Okay, we've got one definite article here, but we're going to assume it's of God, not meaning a god or something like that. So we've got Kai and Timotheos. So we've got obviously the name Timothy, which comes from that. We can see that. We've got Timotheos, and the keen-eyed among you would say, hang on, that looks like Teu. And that is because he's got the word for God in his name. Okay. And I suppose in Hebrew names like Daniel or Michael, okay, they've still got the name of God in there as well, but it's not going to be Theos. Okay, so we've got Ho Adelphos. So we've got Timothy, his brother. So all of this is a greeting. So Paul, an apostle of Christ Jesus, because of the will of God. Now he's an apostle because of the will of God. As well as Timothy, his brother. We see that, okay, Adelphos, we see that's related to the proper noun Philadelphia. Okay, so the city of brotherly love. Okay, so we might just stop there. So if there are any questions, you can leave them and I'll try and get back to you. Okay, otherwise, I hope you have a very good week ahead and we might talk next week. Okay, bye bye.